Now that we have reviewed the basic information of the Rove Logix application, let's get started with the actual setup. We should proceed from Setup to Application Settings and finish each item under the Setup dropdown one by one. Let's start with Application Settings. As with all pages, you will notice there is a guided tour for Application Settings. You can walk through this one by one for more information on actually setting up that particular field. One important note, you will notice on all forms in the application that anything in red is a required field. This means some value is required for that particular field. We will walk through the application setup fairly quickly. Again, for more in-depth information, refer to the page guided tours. On this particular page is the basic company information. The one thing I'd like to touch on is the cloud clock. The cloud clock is purchased separately and is a hardware-software combination for time reconciliation. If you have not purchased this, simply switch it to off. As we walk through the company address, you will see that this is most likely set up for you. If your office address is the same thing as your mailing address, simply click the Copy Office Address link here. Invoice Options. In the Invoice Options tab, you'll notice the currency symbol, the invoice number prefix. Basically, you can set up a prefix for invoice numbers. For example, INV would be a very standard prefix. You can also set up a suffix for an invoice number. In this case, I'll go ahead and add a hyphen as well. Next would be your default tax percentage, the invoice template that you would most commonly use. To preview that template, please click on the Preview Template button here. Any default customer notes that you may want to show up on every invoice, such as, "We thank you for your business," and default terms and conditions that you may want to show on the invoice. Finally, we can click Continue to move to the project settings. As with invoices, you can set up a project number prefix and a project number suffix as well. Custom fields are basically custom fields that you would like to see on the project setup page. For example, we have set up section, township, range. Some other examples might be unit, block, and lot, depending on what custom information you may want to see on the project setup page. If you don't need it, you can simply delete it. Custom fields are searchable within the quick search. So add the information that would be important to locating a project, or just information that we didn't cover in our basic project setup. These are basically 9 custom fields, 9 fields that you would want to show on the project order and to also be searchable. The project cost multiplier is used in project profitability calculations. An in-depth explanation is shown here by just quickly hovering over the question mark. You will see the question mark throughout the application. Hover over the question mark in order to see the details for that particular field. This set next project number sequence for you to change the next project number. For example, the next anticipated project number is 35. But if I wanted to change that to 150, I would just enter that here. The next project number will now show as 150. Finally, save your settings. You'll get a successfully saved information box at the bottom, and you are complete with application setup.